Here we go. Vishal Sharma, local conveyancing genius in Milton Keynes. How are you, buddy?
I'm very well. Thank you for calling me genius. I've never been called that before, but I'll take that.
It's better than most things, eh? How are you, though? Are you good? Yeah, you're surviving. You're well. You're healthy.
I've been called far worse, but yeah, really good, mate. Really good, healthy, staying fit and well in these testing times. How about you? How are you keeping?
Yeah, good actually. Thanks. Yeah, the same. Just getting by, doing what we can, and yeah, just riding the storm, I guess. Same as everybody else, really.
We're in
Yeah.
it together.
But I just wanted to say thanks, mate, for joining us today. And Vishal's going to explain a little bit about COVID and conveyancing, and how are you finding everything at the moment?
In all honesty, probably like everyone else, Jamie, I'm in the office, which is great, but it isn't great because it's difficult because I'm more or less here on my own, seeing these four delightful walls every day, every morning, every afternoon. But it is tough. It is tough. No one's doing really anything. We're not bringing in any new work, which is understandable, which is effectively kind of self-explanatory. But it is hard. It's hard. We've got a pipeline of work. That was the pipeline of work we had from 2, 3, 4 months ago, which still needs to be processed because clients are still doing as much as they can, lenders are doing as much as they can.
Yeah.
But it's hard because, as you know, in your sector and as well as our sector, we are dependent on estate agents, we are dependent on mortgage brokers, lenders, solicitors. So whilst we are trying to be reactive to COVID-19, we are up against testing times with other people that we need to have working with us to do what we need to do. So,
Yeah.
it is hard. I'm not gonna play it up to say it's easy. It's just the unknown, the uncertainty, which makes working in conveyancing in these testing times quite difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's quite nice to see the community and everybody in the industry has kind of pulled together a little bit and working together as much as they can. And are you seeing that with other conveyancers at the moment? Are they working with you, or have you seen some have just closed shop and they're not able to do anything? Or?
The people that we deal with day in, day out, the local solicitors, so the local solicitors that we all deal with every day have actually done pretty well in trying to get all of their staff to work from home. So a lot of staff in our environment have been furloughed, just because ultimately it's difficult to keep staff in work when there is no real volume of work to process.
Yeah.
There is work to deal with at the moment, but that's just that's prehistoric work. So any new instructions we get are very few and far between. But going back to your question, the local lawyers that I've been dealing with for the last 5, 6, 7 years have been pretty decent. They have workstations at home. They have been working from home, and they've actually been quite decent in getting stuff over to me. We've worked quite well. Other lawyers who aren't so local aren't so easy to deal with because they are probably following the letter of law a bit more than other lawyers. They are following the guidelines, which we all have to follow. But there is means of working around it. So there is these conditions that lawyers are imposing in contracts to cover for COVID-19. I would say, going back to your question, Jamie, the local lawyers I've worked very closely with over the past few years have been very easy to deal with. Lawyers that you deal with not so often aren't so easy to deal with because they are obviously dealing with things in a different light. I feel like in this community, in Milton Keynes and maybe around Milton Keynes area, because we know one another, we all kind of have an understanding of how one another works.
Yeah.
We all know how it works. I work closely with you. I work closely with other agents, other brokers. We all know how things need to be done, but we also know how we need to look after our clients' interests. I just feel like other lawyers who aren't necessarily within the circle of lawyers that we deal with aren't so adaptive. They are very set in their ways. Not all of them, but they don't want to do anything until we come out of this situation, which is understandable because of the safety of clients. But I do think if you pull together, like you said, in a community, you can make things work. It's just the community is within the circle of community we have here. Anything beyond here is not so much a community because people work in mysterious ways, and we have developed relationships with agents and other lawyers in this area where we can make things happen, but those relationships don't go as far as London or, say, for example, the Midlands. People work in different ways, but certainly the people that I've been working closely with in MK over the past 6-7 years have been really, really good, and two-hand actually. So I've been impressed, and it's good to see that they are able to work from home and stay safe, but still do their job, because you and I both know conveyancing can be dealt with electronically. You know, yes, you have to satisfy ID and money laundering and, you know, ID regulations, which are important, but conveyancing has moved on from the days of seeing clients. You can do reports electronically. You have to still see your clients for certain original docs, but the beauty of us doing our job is if you've got a sophisticated system, you can do a lot from your workstation, and that could be at home, that could be in the office.
Yeah, it's amazing how kind of future-proof it is now, really. What I don't understand with most conveyances, they still pay by cheque. Unbelievable. You guys don't, I know, but
no. The irony is, you know, some banks charge you for cashing in a cheque.
No, we get charged for it now. That's why we say we don't accept checks anymore. But no, it's good to see that you're still going, you're still doing what you can at the moment. The same as us in the industry, I guess. We're still trying to do what we can at the moment to keep the ball rolling and keep everyone happy and ticking over. And we've got some landlords and some vendors that are adamant, like they want to sell now still, and it's like, okay. Obviously, we can't do viewings, but we're able to do video tours, things like that we've pre-recorded. So we're doing what we can for them to still keep pushing the properties as much as we can, keep the engagement. We speak to as many people as we can that are interested and what have you. And I guess it's the same for you guys. If we've got someone that's interested, we'll get a quote over to you or get you details, so you can arrange a quote for them. And we can just start getting things lined up, I guess, ready for when the government do hit the button and say, it's controlled a bit more, or, you know, it's safe to go out again, or what have you, then we can start the ball rolling. I mean, are you able to do things like your local searches? Obviously, you're answering inquiries and things.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, obviously, we are dependent, certainly with searches, on the local authority. So whatever local authority you use for your local searches, it all comes down to how quickly they can process it. So we have had to take a bit of a setback on the delays of local searches coming back. But I think, I'm not saying I'm pro this, but I do think that in light of current affairs, lenders are struggling to go out and do their surveys, and they're doing desktop valuations if they can, so long as it meets their underwriting requirements. And I think for lenders, we still go ahead and do searches, and effectively we still have to wait for searches to come back. And you and I both know water and enviro searches come back within a matter of days. The local can take anything up to 3 weeks, unfortunately, because of delays in MK. That has taken a bit of a setback, and it is taking longer than 3 weeks. But there is ways and means of trying to see if you can not necessarily bypass it. I'm not saying we bypass a local search, because local searches are, you know, very important. But if you have a decent search company and the level of indemnity that effectively the search companies offer and provide matches up with the level of indemnity, or more or less a similar level of indemnity that the firm has for PII insurance, there is ways of us seeing if the lender is happy. And not all lenders are happy, but I've got to make that quite clear. Most lenders won't be happy. But if there is an option of taking out what we call search delay insurance, or no search insurance if it's a cash buyer, there is these alternative options that we can pursue if the client is adamant that they want to complete and they want to get the local and they want to exchange before the local comes in. There is options available. Now, we don't normally go down that route, because ultimately if you do, you are kind of cutting yourself short, because you have to conform with lenders' requirements, and they always insist they want to see a local, or there's a local on file. But a lot of lenders are not necessarily moving, but they are allowing certain things to be done to allow things to be done in these circumstances. Because I genuinely believe that COVID-19's hit, and it's obviously affected all businesses, whether you're a small business, whether you're a big business owner. And this is the time where we are now in the era of technology. So if you have the ability to do your job from home, brilliant. Stay at home, do your job from home, keep family safe, you know, keep yourself safe. But I do think with conveyancing, we have moved on, certainly a million miles on from the days of issuing checks, from the days of effectively going to a local lawyer, over your contract to say you've exchanged. Those days are done. Those days are now few and far between. But I do think that we are moving into a new era. And I think we need to look at it in a positive light. It isn't great working where no one really is working in a roundabout way. But now's the time for us to be adaptive and learn from what we are learning from, which is working from home. Because I'm not saying all conveyancers should work from home. I'm genuinely saying there is the function of being able to work from home and being able to work remotely. Because if you can log into your system that allows you to do your job remotely,
Yeah.
not going to be good for a family that has a family and they need to work from home, but also, you know, I'm all in favor of these portal systems, you know, these electronic portal systems. And you and I have discussed this.
Yeah.
Agents log into a portal system via a secure network, secure line. You will have an access login. You will have, obviously, as Taylor Walsh, a secure password to go into X's pipeline of Taylor Walsh's files, and you'll be able to, every day, for however long you want, be able to see what pipeline of work you've introduced to X lawyer, and you'll be able to see exactly where your files are, each file. So instead of you picking up the phone, which you can always do, you'll have an access login. And I think we need to move more towards that. You know, I think that allows you to be able to get on with your day-to-day job, sit down with your negs and say, right, here's X files with X, Y, and Z. This is where we are. This is when we instructed. This is when the client paid his search fees. This is where we are towards exchange, and this is where we are towards completion. And I think whilst we're in this era of technology, I think conveyancing firms, not all of them, need to look at how they can promote their business from within.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think now's the time. Whilst I'm not saying we've all got time, but whilst it is quiet, why not take up the time to see what you can do to learn from COVID and apply what you can learn from COVID following post-COVID?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you'll find at the minute then it's lenders that you're dealing with and other conveyancers and things in general, reactive, active?
Yeah. But when COVID first hit, I can't tell you how many hours I spent on the phone to Santander, NatWest, you know, because obviously, as a general rule of thumb, when we ever pull down money from a lender, we have to give them 5 days notice.
Yeah.
The case is, you don't give them the 5 days notice because you're always running around chasing your tail. And if there's a time where you need to get money in within 2-3 days, I can honestly say, hand on heart, it's not good practice. But when you are busy and you've got high volume and you're missed a report on title where you have to get money in from a lender, there has been times where we've had to ask for funds 2-3 days before, and you cut yourself short of those 5 days. But lenders that I've dealt with since the time of obviously working in conveyancing have all been very good to react, get you the money, help you with what you need to do. Now, when COVID hit, it was a disaster. You know, I spent 4.5 hours in NatWest just trying to chase up a redemption statement. Now, in all honesty, you normally get through to NatWest within a matter of minutes, and they will obviously action the redemption request, and then you'll get it by fax. It's all done electronically now, so it's different now. But when we were making electronic requests, it was taking hours. But 3 weeks in, and even really 4 weeks in, they've actually done really well. Obviously, from a lending point of view, I don't know where they are from when a surveyor goes out and does a survey, because I think they're moving towards a desktop survey and trying to see if they can do it without physically going out and making sure all the underwriting principles have been met. But dealing with lenders at the moment, I genuinely feel like they've done really well to do what they have a month into COVID. The first couple of weeks were horrific. You know, I was struggling, pulling my hair out, and I have got plenty of hair, as you can see. It'll soon come COVID, but it has got much better. You know, Help to Buy. You know, the Help to Buy company, they are notoriously difficult to speak to. And in the last couple of days, we've spoke to them. Normally, you're on hold for over an hour, you know, on a day. And the last 2 days, we've got a couple of new build completions, believe it or not, that are going through on Friday.
Okay.
Developers have confirmed fixed completion dates on a couple of new builds. Everything's all teed up for them to do their house demonstration on Friday. The 2 clients that are buying are obviously buying with a Help to Buy loan, and call them just to make sure everything's all ready for Friday. And then the last 2 calls we made to them, we've got through to them in 10 minutes. And that's normally unheard of. Even when pre-COVID-19, you're on average waiting 30, 40 minutes to speak to anyone at Help to Buy. And, you know,
I guess they're not as busy right now, are they? Because new transactions are probably slowed down. So I guess you take the rough with the smooth, don't you? Then with some Santander, obviously longer timescale waiting now, but things like Help to Buy straight through. But it's interesting that, because if they're doing the walkthrough thing and what have you, that's the building. You've got to be very careful how they do that, I guess, haven't they, at the moment?
Yeah, the truth is our clients are pushing and pushing and pushing, and obviously there's all these there's all these guidelines, there's government guidelines to say you've got to be careful, and the developers that we've been working with, it's actually for a colleague of mine. So a colleague of mine who runs our St. Neots office, he's on furlough, so I've took a couple of his files on, and these files are all on the same development in, I don't know where they are actually, but two of them are basically next door to each other, and the developers fixed completion date, and they've agreed with the clients that they'll do some home demonstration. How they do that, I don't bloody know, but clients are adamant, clients are keen. Obviously, the houses are ready. First-time buyers help to buy, obviously purchase, acquisitions. It's there is ways of making it work. It's just finding those ways that are not only compatible but safe.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a few that vacant houses that were empty, and the vendors wanted them sold. Obviously, they didn't want to sit empty, and the buyers that were staying with friends or family were saying, "Look, I'm happy to complete on it. Can we push the button, please?" It was 2 weeks ago now, and they did the removals themselves. They managed to hire a van and did the removals themselves. So technically, they didn't see anybody apart from collecting a key for a van which was left in the ignition for them, and the guy waved them in. Apparently, they've done it all themselves. So they said that they're quite adamant that they were able to move, and they're not staying with the family they were with now. So actually, it's helped them out. And in his words, he's got more time at home at the minute to get the house sorted without rushing back into the office and things like that. The only downside is, I spoke to him actually the other day to see how he's getting on moving into his new home, and he said, "Yeah, it's great." He said, "One thing I didn't think of though is that I've got no bloody internet now." I've not had a chance to sort the internet out, and they're sending me it could be 3 weeks, 4 weeks before they get a chance to activate it. So yeah, there's a downside for him on that, but yeah, I think in general you're right. People that have already planned to move, or especially with new builds, when they've said already 3 months ago this is your completion date. Are they moving those dates for people now? The people that had committed to a move-in date for a new build?
Well, the two we've got on, I'm looking at the board now, 2 we've got on Friday, 2 new builds that I'm going to definitely go through. Now, there is a couple of other plots on that same site that they can't commit to because they're not ready. They're trying to sort out the home demonstration. But the truth is, these two that we've got for the Friday have been lingering for some time. So they've always been in the pipeline for April. It's just making sure we could accommodate. Now, before COVID hit, we had a handful of exchanges ready to complete when COVID hit. So in the first week of COVID hitting on the Friday, I think we had 9 completions on the Friday. And it was amazing because while some of them had removals, and this was before it become fully locked down and it was in the to and fro of what is the government doing, furlough, etc. It was amazing how clients really got together and basically moved themselves. So clients got family to get vans or cars and help them move their items from their cell into their new one. Even if they could struggle, if they couldn't get removals. This is when removal companies were discussing, do we or don't we help? What's our regulations on health and safety? And a lot of our clients, I think 4 out of the 8 couldn't get removal then, and they just literally, amongst family members, did the move themselves. And it was amazing to see because A, they made it happen, and B, it shows you that communityness, that togetherness. And I think the beauty of COVID is, I can't say whether it will come back because I don't know if it will, but the very truth is, this is a time where you're not going to probably get again. So clients who are at home might not necessarily have internet, but they are at home and they can make their home as homely as they want. And because when you get back into work, Jamie, you and I both know it's full steam ahead. And you're doing long hours, you come home late, and the time you get home, it's probably too late to see your little one. You have your dinner, and then you go to sleep ready for the next day. And these days are few and far between. So whilst it is difficult being in these testing times, it's actually a blessing for those who have the time to spend with their family and their loved ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's quite nice getting to know my wife and daughter. It's actually quite cool. Yeah, but no, it's I agree. I think there's definitely gonna be some positives come out of this. I genuinely think the world will be a better place after this. I think everyone's gonna be a lot more. I think everyone's gonna be a lot kinder to each other. I think people will be a lot more sympathetic to other situations. I think people will be a lot more wary of like general hygiene as well. So things like flu and stuff that normally happens, and I think people are going to be a lot more cautious to, like, when they cough and stuff and what have you. I think in the past, people have seen it in the offices, and there's people not well in the office and they're constantly coughing everywhere, touching things, and you kind of let it go a bit, and they say, "Oh, I feel all right." And if they say they feel all right, they feel fine. But actually, in hindsight, they've passed it to everyone else, and
Yeah.
this might actually give people a bit more of an insight as to what they need to do when they aren't well, and you know, or personal hygiene for people that haven't, you know, washing their hands properly and things like that. But
Yeah.
I think it would be a better place for many, many, many reasons, and it's just such a shame that it's had to come about this way, really. And the death tolls and things we're looking at now around the world is just horrendous, mate. It's horrific, and I think the government. You know, I'm really proud of the government, what they're doing. I know a lot of people are saying actually they're bad at doing X, Y, Z, whatever, but to do what they've done so far and to offer what they've offered local communities, and you know, what the government have offered businesses and things, and to avoid that whole recession, to avoid everything collapsing and everyone saying I can't afford to pay any bills and the whole world would have gone to pot. The fact that they've stepped in and they've got everything in place so fast as well, it's just, it honestly is mind blowing. It is mind blowing.
It's a big task for them, and to be fair, you know, obviously it's been a very tricky situation because we're coming out of EU, so that was on the cusp. COVID hit, and to be fair, you know, I'm not any politician in any stretch of imagination, but for those guys in Parliament, i.e., you know, the guys are chancellors, and obviously in this case Boris and his team, to be lumbered with what is a difficult task, I think they've done incredibly well, and they've put some real good measurements in place to try and keep people afloat. You know, the furlough scheme is a great way. It's a great way of keeping people in work and hopefully ride through this testing time to not make them redundant. And I hope that there's companies out there that will be able to get through this and keep their staff, because staff are important to a successful business. One thing I've come to realize is no matter how good you are at your job, you're only good as the people around you, and the people around you are the people that make you grow and promote your business. And that could be your staff, it could be the people that, like yourself, you know, people we work with are the people that promote you. And I hope that when we come out of this, and I hope we come out of it soon, touch wood, I hope that there's companies out there that will keep people in work and see them through, because we need them. And the truth is that will keep our staff happy, knowing that there is an employer that will support you through what is a very difficult time. And everyone knows it's difficult. People are struggling, businesses are struggling, and the government are doing their best, and they have done incredibly well with furloughing and then the self-employed regime that they're imposing, and these grants for small businesses, medium businesses, you know, these COVID that they're obviously offering. There's a lot that they need to do, but it shows that they're willing to do what they need to do to make this company stay afloat. And, you know, I was talking to my staff yesterday actually about why is it taking the UK so long to go into a lockdown when you look at the likes of Spain and the likes of Italy. And no matter what way you look at it, it is a big ask on the government to put people in lockdown, because businesses aren't working. Businesses are no longer more. So he has, as in Boris, I genuinely believe, tried his best to try and keep people in work, keep people afloat, keep businesses alive. And when lockdown does become serious, yes, make that decision, but support each and every business and individual. And I think he's doing really well. And bless him, he got COVID himself. You know, he went through it himself, and he's come out the other end of it, which is wonderful news. But I do think that no matter what Prime Minister was sitting at number 10 Downing Street, it would have been a difficult task for anyone. But I think he's done as much as he can, and I think there's a lot more work that needs to be done. But I think his team are doing really well to keep us up to date and really help us through what will be an unprecedented time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't agree more. But yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna. I think the reality is as well is that everyone's in the same storm at the moment. I won't say everyone's in the same boat, because I think everyone's boat's different, but we're definitely riding the same storm at the moment. And there's no magic crystal ball, is there, to say when we're going to be out of it, or, you know, when it's going to be, you know, safe to venture to the supermarket again without any cares in the world and things. And I think if you just stay vigilant for a while, I think, you know, the advice they're giving is spot on, really. And I think the way that they're doing it actually works for the UK. I think the way they're doing it does work for the UK, and you can see the method to the madness quite easily, because what they're trying to do is avoid everyone staying out, and then the hospitals having 4,000 people an hour going in saying, I think I've got it. They wouldn't be able to cope. People would just be dying on the streets outside. So what they've done is they've managed it, haven't they, to the point where people can, you catch it at not a safe rate, but at a rate where they can be monitored and managed as best as possible. And obviously they set up that NHS Nightingale hospitals and things, and phenomenal task that was as well, getting that ready as quick as they have, and everything ready. It's quite nice to see that they're not at capacity or anywhere near that at the moment. And I think that's a testament to how well they've done for what they expected it to be. But I think that falls on everyone's shoulders. I think fair play to everyone for actually listening to it, doing what they can. You're going to get the odd person now and then that's just completely, I'm not going to get it, I'll be fine. And they are still out doing whatever they're doing. And do you know what? It's a bit unfortunate that they're not taking it all on board, but you will get people like that. And I think that they've left it open enough for people to be able to do that. And, what will be, I guess. But no, I think I think the structure's right from what I can tell anyway. And, just pray that everyone,
they say, if anything I've learned from this, if anything, is how everyone's come together. You are going to get the exception of people going out and having, group barbecues, and we can't ever stop that. But the very truth is, it's great to see, even 8 o'clock on a Thursday night, everyone out their doors clapping for the NHS, because the NHS have been, I just can't believe how much everyone's come together. And it's not an easy task to keep people at home, certainly in this country, in any country, because the truth is we have a freedom of doing whatever we want. But everyone has taken on board, in principle, the advice that the government have set out, which is stay at home, slow down the virus. And with that, that's less strain on the NHS, and that allows us to spend more time on building a vaccine, if we can, to keep this away from us. And I just can't believe that, we've had it, or we're going through it, and we're in a situation that you're in a film. I feel like I'm
in a movie.
Will Smith in Iron Man. But the truth is, we are in it, and we're in it together, but everyone's coming through it. And I think we are, as a community, pulling together to make this an easier task than what it is. And it isn't an easy task, but we're going through it together. And I can honestly say, like you said, Jamie, get through this and we'll get through anything. And believe you me, we'll come out stronger.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I don't doubt that at all. Yeah.
It's very unusual queuing up to go to Sainsbury's and being 2 meters apart from the person in front of you. And it is, I was queuing outside of Sainsbury's over the weekend to get your fruit and veg and your milk. And I've never once been in a situation where, you just can't go in and come straight out. You literally one in, one out. But that's the world we're in, and that's the life we're living. And it's there just to keep people safe. And yes, we're in it, and it is unusual, but it's the same for everyone. But it's great to see everyone are doing their best to make this work.
Couldn't agree more. But, mate, thank you so much for the chat today.
Thank you for your time.
We really appreciate it. If anybody is looking to get moving or instructing a conveyancer, are they free to give you a shout?
Absolutely, anytime.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, if anyone does need you, I can forward your details over to them and they can give you a shout. You and the team can get the ball rolling, and any advice they're after or anything, I'm sure you'll be able to help. But Vish, absolute pleasure as always. Thank you so much, and I look forward to coming and giving you a hug, mate, and having our usual cuppa together when all this is done and said.
I can't wait for us to go out for some lunch when we
absolutely.
come out.
absolutely, mate. Thank you so much, and I think we'll end here, and we'll see you soon.
Take care, Jamie. Good seeing you.
Take care, buddy. Thanks, mate.